in other organizations. So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, today, we might as well get started right away
Today.
here. Today. On our first episode, we played around in Star Marine for a bit. And then on last week's episode, we played around in the Pirate Swarm. Today, I thought we would take a look around Grimhex in Crusader here. Hey, Tyler. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Let's switch to game mode.
Switch the game
I got
mode.
something on my face on the screen.
Where did Bristol go?
Little Dropbox pop up here. Hold on. Hi, Dropbox. How you doing?
Goodbye, Dropbox.
Dropbox was like, I want to be in Tactical Advance. So this is Grimhex. Tyler, why don't you tell folks about Grimhex here? What is Grimhex?
Grimhex is kind of the pirate equivalent to Port Olisar. Currently, the only way to spawn there is to get into a little bit of trouble, a little bit more grimy. Actually, recently in 2.6, there were some additions to it, but essentially it's just a place where you can spawn in our kind of mini PU, the Crusader map. So let's head over to the bar. This is a new addition in 2.6, and also the start of potentially an epic adventure that we're going to go on today.
Now, one of the things that folks have noticed in 2.6 is the addition of, for lack of a better term, Benny's Henge. Benny's Henge. But what most people don't realize is that there actually is a series of journal items related to the story of what's going on at Benny's Henge. There's actually three. There's actually three clues sprinkled throughout Crusader that tell you the backstory, not only of why Benny's Henge exists, but the identity of the person who's trapped underneath the vending machine there. So we thought we might take a look at some of those and then try our hand at finding Benny's Henge and show it to you. Of course, we are going to be joined by a special guest. We do have a special CIG guest joining us during the stream. That is character art director Mr. Josh Herman, who was stopping by at any moment here.
Oh, yeah. Super excited about this.
I'm sure he's just wrapping up a work-related task before he drops by. So before he gets here, let me start off. Now, we are in the Grimhex bar, and you will see a data pad here. If you look at my screen, we've already triggered it because we were in here playing earlier. But this data pad here gives you this little journal entry right here called Crusader Above and Beyond, which is just a little Crusader Visitor Information Center thing. It talks a little. It's a, it promotes the Genesis Starline, and it makes a reference to a childhood fairy tale called A Gift for Baba. And A Gift for Baba, it doesn't seem overtly related to the Benny's Henge, but The Gift for Baba is going to come in, is going to be important here in a little bit. So let's take a look at this. We're just waiting for Josh to stop by here.
Okay, cool. So after we grab this one, what is step number 2?
Step number 2 is actually upstairs.
I'll follow you.
Where I started here.
I'll follow Bristol.
Yeah. I mean, technically, it could be argued that it begins at Correa Station. So, hey, Josh.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Just talking about
Surprise.
you. Where did you come from?
Surprise!
Hey,
that was
everybody.
a week surprise.
No, sorry about that. I didn't want to shock you guys. How are you guys
okay,
doing
just-
today?
Fantastic. How about you?
Very good, very good.
So, Josh, you are the character art director here at Cloud Imperium Games. Why don't you, for people who may not have seen you, who don't know, who is Josh Herman? What does a character art director do?
Sure. So, character art director, my job is basically to follow all the character assets from concept to execution. So that means basically doing concept art as well as overseeing and critiquing and doing everything that's going to look like. And then when it comes to the actual character art, so going through high poly sculpts and game and texture and putting it in game, I also make sure that looks good as well. So anything that's character related is pretty much stuff that I oversee.
Gotcha.
Let's see if we can bump Josh up a little bit louder. Just getting some people in chat saying.
Oh,
Sam, a little quiet, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
move your microphone.
I'll let you do that. Thank
There you
you. Yeah.
Josh, audio okay
There you
now.
go.
Okay,
Great.
sweet.
Thank you very much.
All right, so here, upstairs in the little habitat area of Grimhex here is a second data pad here, and this data pad gives you this mission here, or that's not mission. This journal entry here about an artist who met a woman who told him a story about, well, when she died, she wanted to be floated out near the asteroids by the Big Sister, and mentioning that her mother used to read her the story A Gift for Baba and whatnot. Now, the Big Sister is what? Whoa, that's the wrong button. It's one of those references that you can find in our star map. If you look at the Stanton system in the star map, you will find that the sisters are what they call the three moons of Crusader, and the Big Sister is Yila. So between those two, it's meant to kind of point you and that this guy had a mission in mind in the Yila system. So Josh, character art director, what are you working on these days? What's taking up your time these days?
We have a lot of work going on right now for Squadron. We are trying to kind of wrap up a lot of our costumes, a lot of our, and a lot of that is also kind of playing into the 3.0 push for how much stuff we want to release to the players. So, we want to have some things that are specific to Squadron, but also we want to allow players to have a lot of stuff to do in the PU as well. So, a lot of costume work. We've just been pushing forward kind of on all fronts, on the concept front, on the character art front as well. So, yeah, just a lot. There's a lot. Been working on some aliens recently. We're finalizing some concepts for those, 3D concepts for the Banu and the Xi'an. So, the last couple updates we've had have been for the Vandul and for the Tavaran. So now we're moving on to the other ones as well. So one at a time.
What can you tell us about the Xi'an and the Banu thus far? What are you allowed to share?
The Xi'an are interesting to me because they live so much longer than everybody, and they also have a very the tech that they created with the kind of the anti-grav stuff is really cool. So you see some of that in the Scout a little bit. Like they have a very different aesthetic, and so they really treat in most other races kind of almost as children, because they live for so much longer that if they live for hundreds of years, that if a human lives for 80 years or a long human life, that to them is still an adolescent. So everything that they do is very long game. It's not necessarily the short game. It's and so trying to get some of that into their costumes, into their designs, where we really want to show with that there's almost like a regalness to it,
Right.
A level of kind of a higher level of thinking. So how do you put that into a costume? So we're trying to get that across. With the Banu, we are getting very much into they're very much about trading, right? They're one of the traders. Obviously, the merchantman is like the ship that we all know about right now, but it's because of that, there's so much about trading, and so we want to get that into their aesthetic as well, which means that they've traveled a lot. They're not just somebody that sits in one location, but that they've gone to all these different systems and places, and so that they need to look well traveled. They need to look like they're coming from lots of different places. So yeah, just kind of pushing forward on all of our all alien races.
Now our alien races in the game that we've shown so far all tend to be somewhat I don't know how you say it, animal related, I guess. The Vandal, you could say, are definitely kind of reptilian. Is that fair to say about the Vandal?
But still humanoid as well.
No, they're all humanoid.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it fair to say the Vandal are reptilian, or is there a better word that you'd use?
I wouldn't know if I would use reptilian, because reptilian, when I would think about
Scales. Yeah, they don't have scales. You're right.
I think there's an aggressiveness to them that is kind of, I think a lot of people would associate with things or animals like crocodiles or snakes or things like that. But it's not necessarily reptilian, and their coloring isn't really reptilian either.
So you're saying I just made a very bad example?
I would. No, I would put them along the lines of a predator, like an apex predator, where you kind of have like, I think you're looking at a combinations of lots of different kinds of things, but big cats I think are always one of the ones for me that are like the biggest predators that on Earth that we know of, where you don't really want to mess with the big cats, right? Like, but I think the mix of that, maybe with some of the reptilian influence of what you're saying, especially one of the things that they have is they have kind of translucent skin, and so that they tend to like be a little kind of shinier, and that's something that can kind of, I guess, get to that reptilian look where it's lots of color like inside the skin. It's not actually on the surface of the skin. So when you look at like hands and faces of things like geckos or salamanders, like that influence comes through. So I can see that for sure.
Okay. And when we showed the Tavaran
Mm-hmm.
during one of our more recent live streams, they had a more avian.
Yeah, definitely.
Influence.
That's definitely a look we're exploring. Not all of them are set in stone. I mean, I think that's something that's really cool about working here in Star Citizen and Squadron is that it's so open development. So for my personal work, I like to show lots of work in progresses and stuff, and I enjoy that. And so we get to do that here as well. So note that everything that we're working on is work in progress at some point. So yes, this one may have a very defined beak. I think one of our sneak previews had a beak. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be reflected in the final design. It's just an idea that we're exploring, and so we like that. And maybe we'll take that and we'll roll off of it, and it won't necessarily look exactly like that in the future. But it's definitely an influence that we're taking into account.
Okay. And
By the way, where did you guys go, really quick?
I was surreptitiously murdered by a fellow Star Citizen who found me in Grimhex. So I respawned at Port Olisar, and now I have made my way back to Yila, and I'm going to try to see if I can't find Benny's henge. So
Oh, you're going without us.
well, I didn't have a choice. Somebody decided to
Bristol just took down somebody outside Grimhex,
shuffle
it
my
looks
mortal
like.
coil.
Are you
So I
still
started
at Port
over.
Olisar?
No, I'm in Yila heading towards one of the
All right, I will meet you
beacons.
there.
Yeah,
See
so
if can find you.
I think our best way of finding Benny's henge, best chances of finding it before the hour is over,
I'm gonna bleed
is
out.
if we take 3 separate ships and try to find it.
Yeah.
Josh,
Josh, I got a quick question for
Sure.
you, though. We talked a lot about these humanoid alien races. Do you think that we'll see things less humanoid and more creature, grotesque-like?
I think we will at some point. For a lot of the alien races that that we're talking about right now, they definitely have to fit into a certain paradigm of if they're developing ships and all the players want to be able to fly those ships, they kind of have to fit that, right? I think we've talked about that a little bit before. But when it comes to maybe things that are non-sentient, absolutely, things that are going to be able to be a little more grotesque, the whole non-bipedal look.
like fauna on
Yeah,
an
exactly.
alien world.
Exactly. Like that stuff we'll be getting into.
With the space worm.
Yeah, right. I mean, space worms, tentacle, flying spaghetti monsters, like all kinds of weird things like that.
Did you just confirm a flying spaghetti monster in Star Citizen?
He definitely did. Also,
Sure.
Bristol, you alive over there, right?
I just bled out.
No, I meant in real life. Do you have any questions
yeah,
for
yeah.
Josh?
If you got any questions, shoot them out.
Let's have a look.
I was thinking, going back to the Tavaran being an avian, the last that we saw of the Banu had them looking a little tortoise-like? Is that...
There's definitely like the coloring on their skin, I think in those older images reflects that. And some of like they have kind of almost ridges or in their face and forehead, so I think that's somewhere like where like the heavy skin texture comes across. And right now they will definitely not be on the tortoise end. We're kind of shifting away from that a little bit. But
Interesting.
But I think we're coming up with some cool stuff. I think people are going to be excited about all the alien races we're going to have, and they're all going to be distinctly different, which will be good.
See, I was looking at Josh and listening to Josh and not paying attention. Ninetales showed up behind me and gave me the gift of missiles
That's the
while I was looking at Josh and not paying any attention to what I was doing.
that's the challenge of being on camera while you're being chased. You're basically being headhunted right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that wasn't AI. That wasn't a player.
Oh, okay, good.
So
So,
Bristol, what
Josh,
you got for
what-
Josh?
Yeah.
What would be the kind of timeline for creating a brand new character from concept all the way through to grey phase or like final push?
Sure.
What's the timeline for a new?
So that depends on if we're going to do like a costume character or an armored character. Our armored characters are a little more complex because, as you can see with like the CDS, the Marines right now, we have basically an undersuit where you can then layer things on top. And so that means when we're creating armored characters, we're essentially, the first time we make a new one, we're essentially making two characters because we have to create the armor suit, or sorry, excuse me, the undersuit. And then on top of that, we create the armor elements that are going to be layered on, which also allows for future different manufacturers of those armors being put on that one as well. So that takes a little bit more time investment. But for something that's in like the shops that you can just buy as casual clothing, it takes roughly, including concept and including the rigging phase, it can take about 40 to 60 days, depending on the complexity of the costume. Usually a couple days to a week to nail down a concept. And when we're doing concepts, we're doing them in batches rather than just doing one at a time for those. And then depending on the high poly sculpting phase, that can take, 20 to 30 days of time to kind of get that really nailed down, and then the game model and the texturing can kind of be, and rigging kind of go in those last 10 to 30 days, depending on, all those vary. Some people are really good at certain parts of the pipeline. Some people are, much faster at sculpting. Some people are much faster at game asset and texturing, and so it really does depend on that, but that's a pretty broad timeline, but 40 to 60 is about average.
And that's a full costume, head to toe.
Mm-hmm.
What about something much smaller, like a shirt, like a band shirt?
Band shirts don't take that long, especially so things like texture variants, which means we already have a model done, but we're going to add a texture on top of an existing one. We'll change out the texture. Those don't take more than probably a day to change those out. To make a new shirt, like just like a T-shirt like I'm wearing now, that probably takes 4 days, 3 days.
Are you wearing a Run D&D?
Run D&D shirt, yeah.
That's actually awesome. I wish I could see you right now. Our camera setup doesn't allow us to all see each other when we're in different places.
Whose house? Dungeon's house.
I need the little hat.
So,
Josh.
House?
Yep.
Has there been a particular character set you've enjoyed working on the most? Like, out of an alien and humans, the sand nomads?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I could guess this. Can I just take one guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I feel like you were really proud of the sand nomad.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
I am. He was one of my favorites that we worked on. We have some cool stuff that I can't talk about right now that I'm very excited about. Some much bigger things as well, which we're pretty stoked about. But I think as far as currently, I think the Sand Nomad is probably going to be my favorite one that we've worked on so far.
So with the sand nomad, we saw the cloth material moving around. Can we expect to see more of that in different types of outfits or armor in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're looking for places in our concepts and our characters to have that, to have secondary animation, things that can kind of sway and move, and
I love it.
And even
That's
like
cool.
We're looking for capes. Yeah, always capes.
Capes?
Big fan of capes.
Yes.
But even far as like little tiny things like I'm trying to find my zipper, but I think it's at the bottom. But when you move, like the little part of the zipper kind of jingles around. So anywhere where we can get little secondary
Immersion.
animation. Yeah.
I would like to just be able to wear a pair of black slacks with a blue shirt.
Yeah.
With maybe a blue cape with a gold interior to it, and
that's all.
That's
all he wants.
It's pretty much all I want to be able to wear.
Yeah.
Somebody asked in
why.
chat. Do you think we could have the same type of physics that we saw in the Sand Nomad's cloak when the wind blows in our beards?
Wind physics.
You don't have to answer that.
I don't know. I mean, that's definitely more of a tech question. We'll get Sean in here, and Sean will ramble on wind tech simulation for like 10 minutes. So
for beards.
Yeah, for
yes.
beards only.
Great use of our time.
Yeah. But yeah, I would love that. That's definitely more of a tech situation.
So, let's see if we've got any questions in the chat here. Here's a question from: when designing a costume, do you give it different themes so it will take less time and players have more choice?
I guess I would have to counter ask the question what they mean by themes, but
Yeah.
I'll take a guess at what they mean. So if they're saying like if you're wearing a mining outfit that you would be having a costume that is specifically to a miner, or if you're wearing civilian wear, that's kind of just general civilian wear, or if you're wearing combat wear, that's specifically themed towards combat. Yeah, we typically themes things in that way, and that's for a couple reasons. First off, it helps design because then they're easily able to cater things and theme things to certain situations, which is good because it makes it a little simpler to understand, especially for the players. So yeah, we try to do that as much as possible to say like, we're going to make some costumes that are specifically for this reason.
Now, that is, of course, an intent, but by no means a restriction.
No.
I mean, if you want to be a pirate who dresses like a circus clown,
Yeah, exactly.
by all means. But those are probably redundant. But yeah, I mean, it's it's just like our ships. We create them for an intended
For a
purpose,
reason,
but then it's up to the player to use them for a variety.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Caterpillar's made to haul around cargo, but if you want to try to jam a Merlin inside of there, you can absolutely do that, right? But it's not designed for that. You can do all kinds of different stuff. Like, if you want to take a space, like even right now within what you guys are playing now, we have variants of marine and armor types, but you don't have to go and fight in those. You can just walk around. Like, it's not specific for that, so it can be used for anything.
Okay. I got another question from chat here. It says, having worked on Iron Man, I believe, which I believe is correct, does coming up with the art, etc., for different races feel like a freedom you might not have had before? I guess he's asking about the differences between developing for the game and
for the game versus
an established property.
Sure. With established properties, there's definitely looks that you're going for. I think actually one of the reasons that I've really enjoyed working here is from my experience at Marvel, where I got to work on all different types of properties. So there, where I was working on Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy and Iron Man and Avengers and Captain America and all those movies, and each one of those, fortunately, has its own aesthetic. So there's a realistic in Captain America. You've got kind of a fantasy sci-fi with Thor. You have very sci-fi with Guardians. You have realistic tech with Iron Man. All that kind of stuff. So that's kind of helped, and I kind of look at that the same way with our aliens. So they should each have their own theme. They should each have their own thing. So yes, it is great to not have to fit a certain aesthetic and be able to create one. But I like to also try to give them all their own specific look that's going to be separate from each other. So it was a very useful and great experience working there, and it's really set me up for creating new aliens here, which I'm super pumped about.
Yeah, so are we. Bristol Boy, you got any questions?
Yeah, we've seen some of the character customization from, I believe it is the 3.0 demo, and the pilot had some sunglasses on. Can you talk to us about what kind of accessories and things we can maybe add to see in the future that we can customize the characters with?
Sure.
That's a good question.
I mean, like stuff that can go on the face, which would be goggles, glasses, masks, all that kind of stuff is definitely things we're looking into or doing. Things that get a little more difficult are things like earrings, studs, piercings. Those are a little harder, especially as we're getting further into our customization of the face, because that means that the element, you can't just, how you would typically place something is like if you put an earring on or a nose stud on, it is going to be in that location. But if you customize your face and you move that around, that is going to no longer be in your nose. So we have to kind of dynamically update that, which is a challenge, but is something we're pushing towards. So all kinds of accessories with that. Obviously, when it comes to actual armor, we're going to have helmets and gloves and arm, all that kind of stuff. We're going to have chest. We're going to have legs and boots and pants and shirts and jackets and all different kinds of hats and
So
helmets.
you could have a leather hat and cloth pants and a
Yeah.
suede T-shirt. You know,
Yeah,
you can really
absolutely.
mix it. You know, yeah,
Sounds
that's
like
cool.
Saturday night.
I like that you've got the modularity to be able to, you know, pick and choose various items of what you want.
Yeah, we're trying really hard to make sure that everything's going to work with everything. We don't want to limit the player to say like, okay, you've got these pair of pants on, but now you can't wear that T-shirt because it doesn't fit with that, or now you can't wear that jacket because it doesn't fit with that. So we're even going far enough to say, you know, a lot of games what they do is if they're wearing a jacket, like let's say I think it's in like in Grand Theft Auto and games like that, but if you buy a jacket, it replaces your T-shirt.
Yes.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, okay, if you buy this T-shirt and I'm wearing this Run D&D shirt, but I buy this blue hoodie, I still see the Run D&D shirt. You know, I'm not going to erase. We're not going to erase the shirt that's underneath there. You know, even possibly the one of the challenges that we're currently looking at right now is, like let's say you're wearing a long sleeve shirt, but you buy like a shorter sleeve jacket that goes on top or a vest. How can we show the you know, make it look like if you're wearing a suit that you have the cuffs underneath your jacket of the same thing that you're currently wearing. So we're going pretty far into depth with the customization and how much we want and want to allow the players to do based, and then, you know, also how difficult it is to create a system like that, because it does get incredibly complicated. I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot more at some point, because it's going to be something that we're going to be rolling out to players and want them to play with and experiment with, and you know, we will also want to get their feedback too. So
I mean, going off of the design and concepts of obviously the clothing and things, would that tie into certain things like character item space? So you've got a jacket and it may have 2 pockets. If you don't have a jacket, you don't have 2 pockets.
right, exactly. So that's its own question of, do we, you know, what do we want a character to be able to do? Do we want them to be able to have a holster? Do we want them to be able to have pockets? Do we want, you know, and that's another way to kind of answer a question before about theming characters, where you know, certain costumes maybe shouldn't have any of that stuff, but it should have a bonus somewhere else where it's you know, looking at armor. So it's like, okay, maybe certain things are going to be better against heat. Certain things are going to be better against different types of damage. So you can have that pros and cons to each one of those. But yeah, that's something we're working with customization. Is, you know, certain things are going to be better than other ones at items, or storing items, or different types of items.
I would just like to mention that I have found the Benny Stonehenge, and I did it without finding any of the waypoints. I found it completely blind.
Wow.
In all of Yila. You guys watched it. I went from Olisar to Yila, and found it without any of the checkpoints, without any of that, and
it's beautiful.
So I'm just gonna hang here, and we're just gonna see how long it takes.
I found someone's ship. I got
Bristol
into it.
and Tyler to get here. So
Well, I found someone's ship, and I tried to just set it to self-destruct and get out in time.
Yes.
And I did not get out in time.
see, I'm much better at the non-combat things.
Yeah.
So Josh, one of the questions that's come up in chat quite a bit is that sand armor outfit.
The sand armor,
Is that going to be something that players will get access to at some point?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I like it too much to keep it just for bad guys or NPCs or things like that.
That's
We definitely
actually
want the
super
players-
exciting.
Yeah, of course we want to give players the chance to play with that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely a yes.
I would also like to do something. I have not cleared this with Josh beforehand, and I want to stress that this is this is a non-committal thing. We are under no obligation to do any of this. I had an idea, and for a little bit of a viewer interaction. Since Josh said it only took a relatively small amount of time to make shirts, I would like to see your suggestions in chat on what kind of shirts you'd like to see in Star Citizen. Again, this is not a binding contract. We're not. This isn't going to force Josh to go and make one of those
This
shirts.
is your chance to sway
but
me.
I
though,
would like
guess.
to see. I would like to see some of you make a. I want to see what your suggestions are. I want to see what kind of shirts, just shirts, not full outfits, not jackets, anything. What kind of shirts? We've got band shirts right now.
Yep.
Well, what other kind of shirts do we have right now?
We got some band shirts. We got a lot of the kind of the we call them
Tony
TTL.
Z.
What?
The Tony Z, shirt.
Oh,
You know.
yeah.
Make sure it's just
I had a talk with him about the thing, by the way. So I'm breaking the fourth wall a bit. He
Oh.
totally knows that you guys give him crap for that. And he was telling me, he's like, I kind of just want to add. You ever seen that game Cookie Clicker where you just click over and over and over? He's like, I kind of want to add just like a little gadget in the verse that you just click it and it says and you can just use it over and over and over.
I know someone who tried clipping every time he said
Oh.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it got so long. He was just like, I don't know if I can keep doing it. Like,
No, he gets a kick out of it. It's yeah,
All right, right off the bat, I see one that I'd like to put my vote on. A 3 Vandal Moon shirt.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's a good
3
one.
Vandal Moon shirt.
Yeah, I like that.
I saw one that says a picture of Disco Lando wearing a shirt with a picture of Tyler on it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna put my vote on the 3 Vandal Moon shirt though. There.
Oh, did you just hit that guy?
No, I didn't know you could see my screen.
You tried.
I didn't know. Maybe.
Okay. All right. So Bristol that's one of the radar towers with one of the machines on there. If you can, does that have the machine attached to it?
Yep.
All right. Can you look behind it and see if it's got the see if it's got a clue on it?
it's got an arrow. This one.
This one's got an arrow.
Yeah. So we
Where-
want
where
to
do you
aim
s-
up with the arrow.
Okay. Now some of these machines, can you show us the arrow? I can't quite see it
Yeah.
looking at your screen there. Okay. So some of these machines, if you're trying to find the Benny's hinge yourself, some of the machines just have a straight arrow. You'll see a purple arrow on his. Others have a number with a K at the end, 343K, 16K, and there have been a lot of questions about what the K means on these, and I don't know if I've seen anybody get it right yet. A common suggestion is that it means kilometers, like the thing is 343 kilometers. It's actually Kelvin. The artist who set this up is playing a game of hot or cold with you. So when you see the vending machines with a number and a K, he's telling you whether you're getting hotter or colder towards the insulation. Because not everybody can be super Benny's pilot like me and just find it completely blind. And you guys were watching me fly, and you were like, "Where is he? What is he doing?" I know some of you were like, "Jared has no idea what he's doing, and he's flying around blind." And I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Yeah,
but I found
I'm pretty sure that you just
Still
flipped a
found
coin
it,
and got
yeah.
what you wanted.
But I found it.
I see it.
But I found it. So let's see. Sandworm shirts.
Oh, yeah. That's a
Sandworm.
good one.
Chicks dig my fish tank. A shirt that says all pads are full.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
That's a little.
No, in all seriousness, what about a replace me shirt? It's red. QA has been asking for this forever.
Oh,
Just a
wow.
red shirt with white text that says replace me tiled all over it.
The amount of bugs we would get for that
Yes,
shirt.
no kidding.
You need a shirt that says "Hails Badman."
Yes.
Yeah.
Josh, what is your favorite shirt?
My favorite shirt in the game? Or just like what would I want to put in the game?
What's the favorite shirt you own?
That
What's
I
your
currently
favorite
own?
shirt in the game?
I only own one shirt, and it's this Run D&D shirt. I wear it every day.
Whose
That's not true.
house?
It's true.
It's actually a
Josh's
muscle tee.
house.
That's not true. It's not a muscle tee, but it could be once I rip the sleeves off.
And get
You about
muscles.
to Hulk out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I mean I don't. I mean I think a lot of the stuff we have right now is kind of like the first taste of what we want to put in the game. So we want to have a lot more band shirts, team shirts, location shirts. We want to do some of that stuff too. So, but like different styles. I want to get into some more like the formal wear stuff, like stuff that we don't have. Like I want to
The
see
tuxedo.
Yeah, like the tuxedo stuff, like the collared shirt,
Yeah.
like the white collar stuff. I want to get some of that.
I'm
in
sure
there.
people want to wear a tuxedo and ride around in an
Yeah.
890 jump.
Who
You know what I mean? They
doesn't?
want to feel like a bad
Yeah.
boy. So
Exactly.
One of our early stretch goals was for a duster, like a leather duster.
Yeah.
Oh, see, so now that's the difference. Where when you guys are saying shirt, I'm because of our modularity,
Yeah.
it's only the undershirt for me. So when
Yeah.
it's like, if you want to just like thing that I would wear, it'd definitely be some kind of a duster or some sort of a cloak or something where it's I want to feel some of that kind kind of Firefly, that kind of Star Wars look where you've got
Yeah.
like stuff on you. Like I like the layered stuff when it comes to that stuff for sure.
Stop suggesting a red one shirt. That won't happen. There will not be a red one shirt.
It'll just be a red number 1.
No, there
Yes!
will not be a
Yes!
No, under absolutely no
Josh.
circumstances. No.
Josh, JJ, if
No.
you're running the controls, mute Jared for a second.
Stop the
That's the
broadcast.
easiest T-shirt to
Here's
make.
what we're gonna do: a red shirt,
Eat
a
this
red
beauty.
shirt with a 1 on it.
There you go.
Okay, so a red shirt with a 1 on it. Thank
You
you,
got
JJ.
muted.
I know you muted. You asked him to mute you. Welcome to the jungle, Jared.
Oh, look! They both got there. They both at Stonehenge.
Hey, good job, Bristol boy. Bristol boy has made it to Benny's Henge, while Tyler is still kicking it on Port Lozar.
Yes,
Tyler's
listen.
been
I'm just gonna
causing
be
some
honest.
mayhem over there.
I'm an honest individual. I'm not gonna find Benny Henge. It's not gonna happen. So I'm just gonna board this guy's Connie and see what's going on.
There you go.
So between the 3 data pads, there are 3 journal entries. The first one you find on Korea, and the other 2 are in Grimhex. They basically tell the story of this struggling artist who got fed up with the world. You know, he tried to be the successful artist, and all people cared about were corporate, corporate projects. The big blockbuster motion pictures where he was kind of like an indie filmmaker kind of thing. So. Struggling with what to do, how to prove his worth, he met a woman who told him the story of oh, now I can't remember what it's called, the fairy tale. The fairy tale.
Is this a romance story?
Yeah. What's the fairy tale called again? I forgot the fairy tale.
Romeo and Juliet.
No, it's
I feel
called
like
The
I'm
Gift
the
for Baba.
kid in Princess Bride.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I'm just listening.
Yeah, the woman said the woman told him the story about the gift from Baba and how when she died, this is where she wanted to rest. So with that in his head, he and in a sticking his thumbs up at or what's the phrase I'm looking for? I'm sick, right? I'm super medicated, by the way. I have a terrible cold, and I am on a lot of Sudafed at the moment. Basically, he created
Sticking
this.
it to the
He created this
establishment.
big business. Yeah, sticking to the establishment.
Sure.
That was the phrase I was looking for. By stealing all these big Benny's machines, and unfortunately, that is the artist. People have often wondered, who is
Oh.
this unfortunate gentleman here, who has been crushed by his own creations.
creation.
Yes, this is the artist himself.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So I like the hand truck here. The hand truck's just like. Yep.
Yeah.
Josh, I have a
pretty cool.
question for you.
Yes.
I apologize if you can't answer, but
That's okay.
do you have any information at all about anything that you'd want to share in relation to female character models?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, we're working on them in conjunction. So, one of the challenges with doing 2 genders is that we have to do double the amount of assets. So we're currently basically working on as many female variants as we possibly can in conjunction with the male. So some of our stuff is, we're going to try to get it to you guys as soon as possible, being as vague as possible, saying I don't know officially when, because it's much more than just myself included in that. But, hey.
Look, there are other people
There's
here
a
at
third
Benny's
one.
Hedge, Tyler.
This is
Yeah.
Commander Z-Man.
Oh, hey, Commander Z-Man.
Oh, Z-Man hype.
Let's put
Nice.
some 07s in
Zulu
chat
group.
for Commander
Oh,
Z-Man.
cool.
Yeah, he's a
Right.
great dude.
Back to female character model. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem at all. We're definitely working on it. We are getting stuff out as quickly as we can, and when we release it, we're hoping to release it as soon as possible. I can't really say
Yes.
much more beyond that.
No,
other
that's
than
good.
That and that we're working on it.
It's cool to get an update.
So there's some 07s in chat for Z-Man.
Z-Man getting the love.
Is clothing restricted to gender? I suppose it will, since there's only one gender in the game at the moment. But once the female model is introduced, one of the questions is, will clothing be restricted to gender?
Do you mean like when I find or buy a shirt, like that it's a male-only shirt versus a female-only shirt?
Sure.
I don't know. We're not really. We're trying to build most things to be like a company to cross both. I just clipped out and exploded, I think. So we want to make sure that there's like a equal playing field as far as that's concerned. But I think that's more of a design question, if because that becomes into like items, and if you find items, do they fit on everything, or it's kind of some of that same question, or is it a universal one size fits all? I don't know about that one. There will be some that are specific to male versus female, but for the most part, character art-wise, we're creating them for both.
It's one of those things you, in game development, you explore when you get to there. When you
Yeah,
get there.
exactly.
So, all right.
I got a
So,
question.
sure.
How close is hair to being implemented?
Mhm.
And obviously, once we kind of get a preset of a hairstyle,
Mhm.
would there be any modularity to it, kind of thing? Shorter, curlier,
Shorter,
you know,
longer,
or-
curlier, grooming, stuff like that. So hair is coming along really well. We use one specific we outsourcing house called Airship, and they're very, very talented from the
Airship.
UK as well. And they are doing a lot of our hair assets for us, and it's coming along really well. Right now, I think we have about 30 styles that we're working on, and so we're pushing along with them. It's kind of the same kind of thing with the female, where we want to make sure that we have a good selection of stuff before we release it, rather than just giving you the one. So it's just something that's in. We'd rather do it nicely and all at once. But when it comes to the customization of it, right now we're just doing the one style. So let's say if it's a short haircut like myself, it'll just be that. There won't be the option to like pull out strands, but that's part of that is just the tech right now that we're working with, where it's and also trying to not put the cart in front of the horse too much. Let's get some hair in there first before we start talking about grooming the hair that's in there too. So
Fair enough.
Now, in addition, there was recently a poll, and it looked like actually it was unheard of that this happens, but 100% of the community was in favor of us implementing a backwards hat as quickly as possible.
snapback
so just food for
only.
thought.
No.
Yeah, snapback.
Snapback
So food for
only.
thought.
No, JJ, mute Tyler's mic now.
Don't JJ. Don't you
Mute
dare
Tyler's mic.
mute my mic.
I don't know if I can
you
do that,
dare
guys.
Come on, mute Tyler's mic.
Don't you
Don't know
dare
if I can do
mute
that.
my mic.
I have no power
Will we ever
here.
see hoodies?
I have no power here.
I'm a hoodie addict. I'm a hoodie monster, so I am absolutely in favor of hoodies. So
Yes.
And
hoodies.
would we be able to have the option, if you buy a jacket and it's got a hood on, would there so far be an option to wear it with the hood down or pull the hood up? That'd be
yeah, I mean that's a cool idea.
maybe
I mean,
hide yourself from security cameras, but pull
yeah,
the hood up.
I think that's a great idea. I think we will whenever we make stuff with hoods. It's easier to always make it down and then up, right? Because it's not that much of a change. So there'll definitely be variance in that. But when it comes to like animating it on and off, that's a good question. I don't know. And if that's a gameplay element, also.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the operative word is priority.
Yeah, sure.
You're always having there's lots of things on your wish list. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
of
things
course.
on our wish list. It's all about
Yeah,
our
of course,
priority.
Yeah, because I mean, I really like that. I think it's super cool.
Goodbye.
I just don't. Now I'm actually getting into dev mode and trying to figure out how we would make that work and how we could go through it. But yeah, I like that idea a lot. I think it's cool.
All right. Well, we have time for one or two more questions before we have to let Josh go and head our way to PAX South. And as people pointed out, yes, the source of PAX Pox this year will almost certainly be me. So I am bringing the PAX Pox to
Oh,
PAX
no.
South.
No.
Aeon777 says, will armor pieces have stats? And if yes, can the same armor parts have different stats?
Definitely a design question, but from
Yeah.
my understanding, they might not necessarily have stats, but they will definitely be themed towards certain things. So,
That's a question for Todd Pappy.
Yes.
That's a question for Todd Pappy. And I actually, right after I asked it, I realized that I actually asked Todd Pappy that question when he was here last week.
yeah, what did he say?
He said yes.
I thought they would, right?
Yes, yeah. Basically, once the new heavy armor is in there, and whatnot, heavy armor will protect, more
Better.
than medium, more
Yeah.
than light, and you'll be able to mix and match things. And so I expect to see a lot of people with light armor and heavy helmets running around. This is what I expect.
I think I'm getting stared down right now.
Yeah, you are being stared. I don't.
There's a mouse
Bristol
on
Boy
the
likes to
screen.
play with the camera.
Good.
Bristol
Yeah.
Boy likes to play with
Is
the
that
camera.
what the new director mode camera?
Uh,
Is that what it's called? Or is that just
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
Because I'm using
There-
you can change the vocal point of it.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah, I've
and
seen
you can
some
actually
super cool
Yeah,
stuff
We're
coming
looking.
out from the
We're looking
community
at.
with
We're
that.
looking how all the cool people are here at the Benny's
Yeah.
Hinge.
There's been some really cool stuff from on Reddit and the community from all the
Seriously.
screenshots that people have been pulling with that. It's really cool.
Oh yeah.
All right, one more question for Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, guys, Josh is a character art director. So if you're asking questions about the UI, if you're asking questions about your support ticket, Josh is not going to be able to help you with those things.
No,
Bumper stickers
unfortunately,
on your
no.
ships, Josh is not going to be able to help you with those things. So let's look
my
for
other
one
ship
more.
is a. You need a bumper sticker that says "My other ship is a javelin."
There was one good one. We talked about beards earlier. And it's scrolled up a little bit now, but what's progress on facial hair? And will we have a lot of options for that as well?
Some of us more than others.
Yeah, we'll have options for that for sure. The ones that we're focusing right now are definitely Squadron related, so we're figuring out there's much more tech involved with a face than there is a head, because a face moves around more than a head. So right now we have several characters in Squadron that have facial hair, and so we're solving a lot of our tech issues there before we move on to creating a bunch of styles that we can create that might not necessarily work with the system. So kind of that's kind of the downside of if we want it, we could say yes and get it all out there, and it might not, and create all these assets, but they might not work. So rather than wasting all that time, we're going to invest it in the place where it should go first and make sure that those work correctly, and then we'll put that over.
I'm going to throw one more in there because I saw it come up quite a bit. Tattoos? Question
Yeah,
mark.
big fan of tattoos. I have some
Yeah.
myself, so we definitely want to have them. I think right now we're getting into the questions of that of like, how does that get implemented? How is the customization of it? Is there customization? Is it choices? Like, there's all kinds of tech questions that go on with that as well, where it's like, can they place them? Can the player place them? Can they
draw
size
them?
Can they draw them? Like, there's huge questions that go on with that. Or is it, here's a select, here's a selection of them, and it goes, like with your typical character creator, chest tattoo, and then it goes through a list, and you can pick your chest tattoo or face tattoo, same kind of thing. So
That's awesome.
we're trying to figure all those out right now.
All right. Let's give the last question to Bristol Boy. Bristol, you got one last question for Josh before we sign off?
No pressure.
This is it. Now remember, the last time we gave the last question to somebody, they let the entire community down, and they got roasted on the internet. So pressure is on, dude. Pressure is on, Bristol.
Hearts
Tell
in
us-
chat for a gray-headed gamer. Sorry, go ahead, Bristol.
Tell
We
us
love you,
one.
gray-headed gamer.
Tell us one fun fact about your time at CIG. That is like your
Ooh.
one-time memory that's always going to stick with you and you're never going to forget.
Besides working closely with me.
And besides being on happy hour with me.
He said a fun fact, Jared.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, none of those are fun facts. Let's see, one fun fact or something. That's tough. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on day to day that I can think of. But like the biggest moment was SitCon, the last SitCon. Being able to go there because it was also here in Los Angeles, and so I think I had only started maybe 4 months beforehand. So just kind of knowing about Star Citizen and kind of being involved, understanding a little bit of the community, being kind of thrown into the fire of how much there is to learn about the game and everything there is in the community, but then also really learning and seeing, I think, firsthand, which was the best part about SitCon for me, was how cool all of our fan base is, how friendly they are, how far some of them travel. Like, that's really cool, like to see and be in a community where people are traveling from all over, seeing all the orgs there kind of when we were at the event itself, kind of cheering and grouped up, and that was a really cool moment to be able to see everybody there at the same time and all about the same stuff.
Cool. Well, thank you, Josh, for taking your time out of your busy day here to hang with us on the happy hour.
Yeah, thank you.
With that wraps up this week's show, where you can see Tyler and I at PAX South if you're going to be at PAX South this weekend. With that, I'm Jared.
And I'm Tyler. And by the way, those details for PAX South, you can head over to the community-created webpage, barcitizen.sc, to find out exactly where we'll be Saturday night. We're really excited to meet all of you guys. So, yeah, I totally broke your flow of that.
It's all right.
Goodbye from me.
You were actually muted, and JJ brought you back up anyway, so it was all. I have no power here whatsoever.
I got you.
I have no power here whatsoever. Bristol, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at twitch.tv/BristolBoy88, and I am on Twitter at TheBristolBoy88.
All right, you gonna stream for a bit after this?
I will do, yeah. We're gonna hop on.
All right, why don't we give you since I found Benny's Henge in a lovely Cutlass Black today? Why don't we give you a Cutlass Black to give away to your viewers on your stream? So
Wow.
Yeah.
So head on over to twitch.tv/BristolBoy88. He'll be broadcasting immediately at the conclusion of this broadcast, and you can have your chance to win a Cutlass Black. So
Awesome.
yeah, all right, Bristol, Josh, Tyler, me. Thank you, Star Citizens.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you next week.
Oh, what's that one?